in our community, and an important one. And so, I mean, look, this includes your plants. I'm just going to tell you that. I'm not a scientist, but we got some people in here who know and have got something that's going to help us all. So pay attention. And with that, I'm just going to say to our guests, welcome. And I'll have Greg. Greg, I'm going to have you introduce yourself, and then I'll have Jackie introduce herself. I'm going to have you introduce Jackie, but Jackie talks.
I think Jackie can speak for herself.
Yeah, that's right. And you the mic you just pull to you and set it up. That's all. Yeah. And the biggest thing is about speaking like you want people to hear you. Because it is important. And the last thing I'll say, I'll reemphasize what Austin said. You can join the conversation at 716-837-1112. And well, Jackie.
Okay, my name is Jackie James, and I'm the director with a small nonprofit. Okay.
You can pull it down too. There you go. There you go.
Okay, I'm learning the ins and outs here.
You can move on to that.
Okay. All right. And I am the director of a nonprofit called Citizen Science Community Resources. And what we do is we provide citizen science tools to communities. And citizen science, we believe science is for everyone. And we, teach people, you don't have to have a degree to do science in your backyard. If you want to test some soil, if you're a gardener, concerned about maybe, pesticides, or we're going to talk about lead today, some other contaminants, if you're a gardener. That's what we concentrate on. So it's great to be here.
Well, for me, this is a welcome home, as always. I spent maybe close to 20 years here being a co-host of the sports show, the greatest sports show in the nation, with the legendary Mighty Over Patrick Smith. My name is Mr. Gregory Glover. I am an employee of OpenBuffalo, where we are located right on Jefferson at 1327 Jefferson and Utica, next door to the Golden Cup, the dance studio. Then there's us, then there's the cigar store, the breakfast, the Challenger newspaper, on and on and on. I got involved with this courtesy of a postcard with no name on it. In 2013 or 14, somebody sent it. It was an invitation to a meeting at the Delavan Grider Center. That's where I met the great Miss Virginia Golden, who was the stalwart and is the stalwart of this movement. She would come here. She would go to the Maston Block Club breakfasts, writing the Challenger, the Criterion, talking about the Old American Axle plant, which is now 1001 East Delavan properties.
American Axle, that's what I was trying to think.
Yeah, that's what it was. And so we have come together, Jackie and I, along with Clean Air and a few other places and people, because there was a thing or a legend that said that PCBs were leaking from the site. And those who are unfamiliar or may be unfamiliar with PCBs, those are polychlorinated biphenyls. When GM owned the plant from 1923 to 2007, they made automobile parts for Chevrolets in particular. And PCBs were are a very strong adhesive. They are so strong that once they were used, they didn't just necessarily come off, they didn't wash off. But what wound up happening was, let's say when you rinsed your equipment that you used, long story short, the runoff would run into their drainage system or whatever the case may be. So now the other issue with that is that we stood, or that plant stands above Skajacota Creek.
Mhm.
So whatever Skajacota Creek brought down to the plant as it's flowing, then the plant drops whatever it dropped. Then from there, it would take it to the Niagara River. Now, if it got so bad to where, in the Niagara River, for those of us who know, that's our source for water, bathing, and many other things. If it got really super bad, all bets were off for usage. So we just want, a long story short, make sure that the site isn't dripping off site. They're in the process and have been in the process of working with the Department of Environmental Conservation to seek remediation. And they've been doing it since I've been on board. As a site, they offer tours so you can see what they've done. You can ask as many questions as you want to ask of the site and the owner, John Williams. So I want to make sure I make that very clear. We want to make sure, as Ms. Jackie said, that if you want to soil test your land, you can test it. You can still play hopscotch in the grass. You can still flip in your grass. You can still put mattresses in your grass, flip on it, plant. You can buy houses, and you can still raise families, and all of those kinds of things. And forgive me for being long-winded.
Then with that, let me ask you that. So what will be the areas that I know you mentioned Delavan Grider, but does that mean people what does Delavan Grider area, for people to know they in it or not, if they're in that zone or not, in that area? And if they're not, if this is going to be of value, what would they need to do to access something like that? I'd like you both to take that on if there's something y'all can speak that on.
Okay, so this problem, and we're talking about lead in soil. I know Greg talked about PCBs, and there's a whole story about that as well. But when they initially tested the soil, they thought that there would be PCBs in the soil, and the PCBs were fine, but the lead was very high. And what we want to do is, initially we have a grant, a $10,000 grant, and this is a pilot study. So it's starting right around the perimeter of the American Axle.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Delavan Grider area.
Mm-hmm.
But, so that's only one district. So we want there's 9 districts, I believe, in Buffalo, correct?
Mm-hmm.
We want to eventually get to all 9 districts, but this one, again, we've got a small grant to really concentrate on the Delavan Grider area.
Yeah, and I raised the question because I think for areas for the different districts that not in this pilot program, why it's important to them is that what comes out of it one way or another, where there is suspicion or even some evidence, but a reason to say, hey, we need to have this area checked in certain spots that seem to be, would fit into that scenario of releasing something that's not healthy. Get these environmental testing. I mean, I think there are ways to go into communities, do testings, decide what's there and how to approach it that shouldn't have us thinking it's too large. I think it's going to be piece by piece. And we're talking about one plant. I don't know if any other, the east side got a lot of plants on it, former plants. And, who knows what's there. But I just think this is an important project. And I do think letting people know how they can participate that are who are eligible, and making that clear if there's a number they need to call, if they need to be somewhere, how they can reach you to say, hey, I want to get it. I live there. I want to get in it. What do we do?
Well, here's what you can do for starters. If those who are interested and are truly interested, the first thing you can do is ask yourself, do you want to come to the community meeting at the Delavan Grider Center this Friday? That's located at East Delavan and Moselle, right across the street from Hobson's Cleaners. We will be doing an event from 6, and I say to about 8:30, just in case people have questions like that. We will be talking about the importance of soil sampling, why you soil sample. We will be also dealing with handing out kits, showing people how to use the kits. I also think, off the top of my head, we may present an interpretation of some results that we have. We may, and another thing we're going to do, let's say if I'm with Miss James, who's been a chemist for probably longer I've been alive. Let's say if I say, Miss James, what is zinc and what does that mean? She will be able to tell me, Greg, well, zinc means this, da 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 da. We will also have someone who knows legalese. So if you have a question, say if Miss James was a lawyer, I would be able to ask her a question that would legal, I guess, in my own head, and hopefully she'd be able to give me an answer. Next, you could do, if you want, you can contact me, Greg, at OpenBuffalo at 716-243-8777, extension 109. So that's 716-243-8777, extension 109. And Miss James, we'll be doing other meetings after this, right? Maybe like 3-4 weeks apart, I guess.
Right. So the second meeting will include actually testing the samples for lead and other metals. So it's not just lead, it's other metals like arsenic and like Greg mentioned, zinc. Zinc is not pervasive in the, we don't expect that to be an issue. We're specifically looking at lead.
Right.
And we're gonna follow up with that in the second meeting, which will be next month in June.
And then is there a political? Let me let Austin say something, because I'm about to. I know what I was going to say.
As a young person, I'm really just listening. I don't think too many young people like me have a good grasp on the danger of lead and other such metals, right? I think about like car crash, I got you, scared, I understand. Gunshots, got you, I'm scared. But can you guys maybe go into depth of what happens when we don't stay on top of PCBs and other things in the soil and what effects that can have on us? Because me personally, like, I don't know what zinc does, or I don't know what arsenic does to a human body. And so it may not take precedence for me to say I need to get on top of this issue when I don't know the dangers, the real dangers, because I know there are dangers, but I'm not aware of the real dangers. It may not give me that sense of urgency that we need to get over this issue. So can you just maybe give me a picture of what happens when we don't test the soil and what these things can do to our body?
Well, specifically, you can't get sick from something in the soil unless if you're exposed to it. And the number one route of exposure, now we're talking about for lead, there's other avenues of exposure inside the house, but we're talking about lead in the soil outside of the house. And especially for people gardening, or for people that have pets, or for people that have small children, especially small children, because they like to play in the soil and then they put their hands in their mouth. That would be a route of exposure. So, we're talking about if people are growing like leafy vegetables in their garden and you have that soil on the leaves, we say to make sure you wash everything. So the number one way to prevent, poisoning from lead in soil is knowledge, and to know, is it an issue in my garden, or is it garden or yard, or isn't it?
And if it is an issue,
then the number one way, we have some funding to put compost or wood chips on top of our garden fabric, or just avoiding the area.
I think I gotta say, Austin, the point you just made is a real eye opener, because I do think we forget that what we consider young folks in a world that we don't even know sometimes. It's not bad that we have no real sense of what they think about. Sometimes when we're thinking on these issues, we talk in a way that makes sense. It just makes sense. But if they're tuned in to something else because it doesn't appear relevant to them, we got to figure out how to bring it that way. That was, I just thought it was a wonderful question and revealing of a mindset of where young people are. And wow.
Well, I'm sorry. I just want to say to explain relevant. I'm just saying relevant to our listener base in Buffalo. I love my city, but we are just a very slow moving city, and we are a city that is very hard to change. And I think that a lot of times, at least for myself, I teach communication. And I used to be out here like, why don't people want to learn how to speak better? But I had to spend years and months really breaking it down and say, well, why would they want to speak better? Because why is that so different from their current way of life? So I was only asking that just to maybe for listeners, like I said, or for myself, or for other audience like young people. Sometimes life is busy. We got inflation going crazy. We got things every day on the news. And so when we want to cut through that busy stream of life, I just know that sometimes those real dangers help us realize why it is so important to focus. But I didn't mean to cut you off. So.
No. And sir, I'll even, Brother Austin, I'll even make it simpler than that. There's no way possible for you to know about any issue if you don't have an elder to teach you. So we have to assume our positions. So for me, it has nothing to do with how busy the world is. We knew that when you came from the earth and had the privilege that was not of your own to travel as sperm to the egg. That's also chaos, but you managed to make it. So I'm applying that same ideology and thought process to this. We have to be willing to come out of our comfort zones to teach you. We already know what you're doing because in many cases we've already done it. And so what we want to do is engage you. We want to engage you and give you information. And so as Minister Farrakhan says, you can take it or let it alone. We can't force it upon you, but we can give it to you.
I want to don't do what I did. We got a call coming in, and so we're gonna go to the phones. Caller, you're on the air. Welcome. Hi, how you doing?
Hello.
I was calling in what was said about Buffalo is a slow city. People keep forgetting it's not the city itself, it's the people. The reason Buffalo is moving so slow, they need to get some new fresh blood to come in here with good ideas. That's why if a person really want to get up and get themselves together and advance in life, they have to relocate. Just for example, look at Mayor Byron Brown. Look how long he's been into the office and stuff like that. Look at the councilmen and stuff like that, mature. If you get some new people in there with young ideas, or if you get the older councilmen and just like Byron Brown, you get young people with fresh ideas, then they could bring the city up. You see, a lot of people don't know Buffalo is the gem between New York City and Toronto, okay, two major metropolitan cities. Also, we are building that gorgeous, fantastic waterfront / canal front. It can't get no better than that.
Well, thank you.
Rivers might not be all that, though, but the people here are very, very friendly and stuff like that, and more neighborly, and they need to stop being so segregated in Buffalo. And that's all I want to say. And I want everybody to have a nice, blessed week, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Hey, listen, this is where you can drop your truth, and this is where the vision It's formed. It's in our engaging together. What y'all think about that, or whatever was on your mind? I got a lot of stuff.
I think, with all due respect to the caller, but I think the point was missed. Brother Austin, he knows as a young man what you can do in this town. Right or wrong, sir?
Right.
Yes, sir. But for the sake of the conversation that we're having, he is absolutely right. We need people to get off the sideline and join the fight, whatever the fight is. When I was in my Christian faith, they used to sing a song called There's Room, right? And when it comes to issues of this nature, or whatever issue that concerns Black people or poor people, you have so few people doing the work that you find those who are doing the work, they're crisscrossing other works. And so they truly are stretched thin. So I'm not speaking from theory. I'm not speaking from what somebody told me. I'm speaking from fact. If we had more people who are willing to do some work, if we had more people such as yourself, Brother Austin, who are willing to ask questions, to tell people your age, or even have people older you have the conversation with, to generate an understanding. Another thing that we deal with is, I call it not just necessarily perception, but say, Miss James, if you've been around forever here in Buffalo, New York, when people say we're going to do something and they try to do it, there are people who say it ain't going to make no difference. Y'all not going to do nothing. Y'all just going to be another person who knocks on my door and don't do anything. So within this work and any other work, we have to show and prove that we mean what we say. So we're fighting against that too. I mean, I didn't mean to go on a diatribe or nothing like that. I didn't mean that.
Hey, look, drop that. It's all good. Anything that's shared in here. This is the thing about that I love about radio and when we're doing the show, bringing our truths and letting them mix together. Look, there'll be some bumping in here. There might even be some shades of different disagreements or differences, but it's all towards leading to shaping what will be that people, if it's something to rally around, what will they rally around? I think, first of all, everything that's said fits together. On the question of people in Buffalo being slow, well, I look at it different. See, I look at it like if you work and nothing is too slow, you have to understand the growth of stuff. Those in the Christian faith go by a passage they got that says, who undertakes the building of a building without considering its cost? It ain't just buying the building, the upkeep, and the care, all that, or whatever's going to go in there. There's a lot to be considered. The long-term care. And I think in dealing with a lot of these issues and getting it deeper understood in the community, there's a lot of repetitive talking about it that has to go on. Because for some people, it's like they just hearing it, but they ain't hearing it to the point of where they have absorbed it deeply enough. So it's the teacher that can say, well, I already told them. No, keep telling them until they got it. And not assuming they got to show some reflection of it. Now, to those who are able to see that people are slow, then that presupposes you see what they need in order to speed them up. Then that creates another question. Why aren't you doing something to help them speed up if you know that they need to go faster? Faster to what? Those kinds of expressions become what I call excusiology. That means you say stuff that sounds deep and like, yeah, profound, but it don't move nothing. It don't help one way other than that. I want to see who's helping. If it's slow, could it be because they just receiving the information? They don't have it as deep as you. So that requires some repetitive being patient with them till they got it. And then when they get that, you take on the next step. If you really forgetting them and helping them to get into moving in the direction you think is right. And you got to do some work. Our community is the same as, this is a small city. This ain't big like New York City. but the world is here too. We got lines that we done created that are so hard that we don't engage with each other. We got to rid ourselves of the too long carried wagon of cultural negatives that we carry about each other and other ethnicities. We got to get rid of that wagon and start to upload with the new flow that really flows among our young. How they engage together, they and all kind of nations, they check in with each other, and they got a language that many people got to catch up with. But guess what? It ain't a different language. It's a language that, we done grown kind of so far away. If we listen to them growing up, we will hear the language they're talking about and the words they use, and some of them we'll wind up using. Some of them ain't nothing but words we use, they done flip them again. But anyway, I'm
You
shutting
have a
up.
comment on Facebook. I'm
Go
supposed
ahead.
to get the micro. I'm gonna get you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
We got it today, boy.
That's funny. So James Payne says communication is a problem in a very poorly organized city with limited leadership.
Ms. James, maybe you'd like to speak to that.
Well, I'm here to talk about lead and so.
Well, what role should our leadership do around that? What do you think? What you're doing, how does this connect politically in any way to a community? Because that's where the money comes from.
Right, exactly. We're hoping to get the city council involved in this, and we actually need to meet with the councilman.
I think it's
Zanetta, Mrs. Zanetta Everett, yeah.
Okay, yes. Because, it is an issue and they should be aware of it.
And they are, for our sake, they are.
Pardon me?
They are. You're exactly right, and they are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're getting ready. We're going to a break, but I love council people, but I know all council people say that squeaky wheel gets oil, and you got to push them. And so I'm pushing. I'm hoping she will engage y'all. It would be wonderful in a real stuff. And that's not to put it down, but that's the demand of being in elected office. It's meeting the demand of our community. And anyway, no shucking and jiving. We talking about you shouldn't have to beg on this. We're going to the break.
But we're still on Facebook Live.
This is Channel 7 Chief Meteorologist Aaron Kowski.
We're still live
forecast
here.
for this Monday.
I'm not hard on electives, and I don't want to do nothing to spoil it for y'all. Because I do know electives sometimes still use that as a way to. When you was there and you was on that show, I don't think they would do that about me.
Well, in this particular case, that's not a problem. Because Zanetta has been with us since she's gotten into office. She's had meetings with me and my deputy director, and her staff. So, in relationship
So
to
she
that,
knows
yeah,
about
she
the
knows.
soil
Yeah, she knows.
issue? Okay.
She knows.
She should talk. She got, and that's why she should talk.
Hopefully she can come to the meeting.
Yeah. So
What time is the meeting?
6 to 8:30, 6 p.m. to about 8:30 p.m. This Friday at the Telephone Grinder.
6 to 8 we have on the flyer.
Okay, flyer. Here you go.
Okay.
I just use 8:30 just in case people they still want to ask questions. And
Yeah, well, because Greg. See, I think it's good that any organization has a relationship with anyone in our political thing
you got
in service to the community. But I also think, that it's also part of the problem is that they get satisfied that because they know particulars of certain organizations, they forget that they got to serve a whole community. And that's the thing. And that's, like you could say, she knows us, and that she don't know me. She know me. But you could say she knows us, and then to other ears it's like that's fine, but it's the one she don't know that got to be able to have that same chorus.
Like WNY.org.
And that's
I'll respond to that.
Oh, we back now. Hey y'all, we were still talking. I was still talking. But no, hey, listen. Would you go weigh in on a question or comment?
Sure.
Oh, there you go.
You're so funny. I always have to get on the mic so I don't get in trouble by the DJ. Anyway, one of the things I wanted to share with you is that around the corner from the Delavan Grider, we're actually I'm working with a church to launch the Jeff E. Carter Community Center. And the two programs that might be interesting to you is one, it's going to be a STEAM program there. So that's science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. The second piece is going to be, I'm still trying to think of a better word, but let's just say things that are not necessarily popular in poorer communities, because you have basic needs there, your food, your housing, things of that nature. And now you're asking me to talk about a garden. That's like there's such a gap in understanding and presence when you say that, because in my experience working in that community, that's not a priority. So what I've done, we did a program last year, was we incorporated something that was fun with things that were important for kids to understand for career options. So they all were able to get a bike and understand the mechanics of the bike, how the bike connected to their bodies, how the bike could help them with the environment. And so maybe when you're thinking of your programming around the soil knowledge, like Austin was talking about, maybe make it connect to something that would be realistic. Like, here's a plant grown in bad soil, and then here's a plant grown in good soil, and why you'd want to eat from this one, and what does it do for you, so that it makes sense to the younger kids that you can still reach. By the time they get to Austin's age, I'm not saying that it's disconnected, but now he's thinking about stuff like, what am I going to do with my career? But I've noticed when you deal with the middle school age kids, they then sometimes can influence their parents because they're making it important, and then it becomes important to the parents. So I don't know if that's a consideration for some of the activities and events that you're trying to do, even on that night with Delavan Grider, if there's an opportunity to make it real to the people right in front of them, because sometimes concepts just don't connect.
Okay.
Well,
Before I'm sorry, I don't want to cut
Go
you
ahead, sir.
off.
Go ahead,
We do
sir.
have a caller. I want the caller weigh in just so they don't wait on the line too long. Caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Hey, Dr. Doyle. Hi, Dr. Doyle.
Hey, Dr. Doyle.
Yes, I just wanted to make a couple comments and then I have a brief announcement. Regarding the issues surrounding the old Delavan Grider plant, this is not new.
No, it's not.
People like myself who are seniors, we can go back 25 years. There are people that met on a regular basis and at the Delavan Grider Center and spoke out about these issues of the environment for a number of years. Now, many of them now are older, but they had a committee and they met and they spoke out. And I just wanted to say, I think that the young people need to have the history. They need to be educated. And the other thing is you have a lot of new elected officials who do not know the history. So I think it's important that people continue to re-educate people, let them know what the issues are. I just wanted to put that in there. I'm a historian, so I know. I go back 40 years, Mr. Anderson.
Hey, you know we do.
Yeah,
Good ones too. Good
I
ones.
just wanted to put that. It's important for people like Brother Austin. He doesn't know this history. So I commend your guest. And so my final thing is I just wanted to make this announcement, Mr. Anderson.
Sure, certainly.
Yes, for the 514, remembering the victims of 514, I'm asking people to turn on their porch lights. I did it last year. Turn on your porch lights in memory of those people that we lost, because there's going to be a lot of things going on tomorrow. And if people cannot go to the different events, this is something that individuals can do at their own homes. I just wanted to ask people to join me. Turn on your porch lights for 514. That's all I wanted to say, and thank you for allowing me to make that announcement.
Oh, I'm glad you did. And by the way, I should add to that on 514 at the Dr. Eva Doyle Auditorium, which is inside the Meriwether Library, there are going to be activities all day from 12 to 2. There'll be help and for you to write your own story about 514 that's going to be put into a plan to be published book. So from 12 to 2, you can come in and you can write your, you don't have to write a whole book, but write a few words that they plan to include in a book. And then from 3:30 to 5 o'clock, they'll be doing more about the book, and they'll be talking about our side of the story. They'll have an author in there, Dr. Sylvia Lloyd. And then from 5 to 7:30, they'll have a screening of a documentary of the Tales from the Porch, Part 2. Now, I'm not familiar with it, but they will also have the poet laureate of Buffalo. Wow. So a lot of activity on 514 at the Meriwether Library. And so just shouting out, if anything, plan to be there. If you can't make the early activities, be there for the 5 o'clock activity. All right, we're back to the show.
If I may, Jim, I would like to respond to, I'll go to the lady to my left first. Maybe that will be something that we can consider, but as of, say, today, that may not be an option because it's so close to Friday. As for Sister Doyle, you are absolutely right. I can say that there are meetings on this issue because I was there, and I was there for many of them. So when you, in reference to the history, if you joined us earlier, that's why I made mention to Brother Austin. It's the elders' job to seek out the youth and tell them the history and not expect them to come to us wanting to know. So this issue is, it goes back a long way, no question.
On all issues.
Yeah, it's a big issue, and Ms. James and her organization is doing their part. My organization is doing their part. In fact, Sister Doyle, I've been on this thing grassrooted. When there was no body I had to support, I would get up and put on my Timbs and sweats and get to it. I had to learn how to meet people where they were at. So I got about, no joking, I got about close to 10 to 11 years in, maybe 12.
There you go.
So you are absolutely right. We do need to teach the history. We also have to have people who are willing to talk the history. Anybody who see me, I just stopped a young lady in front of my job just last week and was kicking it with her. And so as in terms of the young people, Sister, maybe down the line this year, since we got a few more months left, if it's okay with Ms. James, we can sit down and convene and strategize and put something together. But again, Friday
Well,
is...
I tell you what, Greg, I think the fact that the possibilities were raised makes the moment already impregnated, and the delivery may not be a long ways down the line, maybe sooner than we think. I think the idea is doing this thing now and formulating itself, and I think it's going to naturally meet, which makes me want to ask something else of you, Jackie.
Sure.
Now we talk about lead, but what is the prevented, or what can communities do themselves to that doesn't need your before? I don't know, what should they look for that said, hey, you may need to get some testing done? What would be some signs to look for? And secondly, what beyond lead are you also versed in?
Okay, so the soil, if it's contaminated with lead, it looks the same. There's nothing in the way it looks that would, give you an indication that there's high levels of lead in soil. So it looks the same. The best way to do it is to test it. And again, we've tested a number of samples in the Delavan Grider area, and there's been I would say the 10 samples that we've tested, 8 out of 10 of them had high levels of lead.
Is it costly to do the test?
No, well, this is free of charge.
Right.
Normally, if you were going to send it to a laboratory to have it analyzed, it would be about $50 to $60. So that's something that we're taking care of through this grant.
Okay. And beyond lead, I know you mentioned PCBs. Is there other things in the community that show that communities should be on the lookout for, just in case?
Yeah, there was nothing else in these samples that was, indicative to be concerned about.
Okay.
Again, the initial samples were looking at PCBs, and that wasn't an issue.
I have a question.
Go
I
ahead.
do have a question. I need your mic.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just seeking to understand, what's the goal of this? Is the goal of it just awareness, or are you also going to make some suggestions on what people can do? So for example, specific question, with the $10,000, is there a consideration to have a partnership with Sam's or Walmart or Home Depot to say a portion of it is, if you want to do a garden, we have a partnership with Home Depot where you can do a raised garden? Or is the goal just information? Because I'm gonna let you answer that, and then I have a second question.
Okay. Yeah, no, for this particular program, it's awareness mainly. It's a small program. So
it's just awareness.
And what can you do to prevent, being exposed to whatever we find, if it's lead.
So when we say what we can do, is any of that money towards those preventative things? Because I've just learned in my experience, like Austin talks about communications, and I'm a business advisor and I do pro bono work, like I was talking about this community center. And if I don't have a takeaway that I can do something with it, so is it awareness, and then we give you some things or some vouchers to get items to prevent that? Or it's just the money's going to be used towards awareness
And then education.
Yeah, that's hard. So
you bring up a good point, because a lot of the things, like when we talk about solar panels,
right,
whenever all the things needed to be in a clean, renewable environment, energy wise and utility wise, when we talk about it, our communities get the information late, and they don't get there's nothing constructed, concrete that they can go away with that makes them feel it's worth investing in it. And they get so much information on all the things around the environment, and they feel so helpless. But that's all they come with. Information, never enough money, actually no money, and definitely no equipment. I mean, it seems to me that if these solar panel companies, or even the government itself, could understand that if we went into the depressed communities and helped build them back up and put some solar panels in there so that they might not have to pay high energy costs and make saving. I mean, none of that, in communities that can afford all this new equipment and I know people who get their gardens tested, that here we're in this community, people don't have know-how, they don't have the information. That's why the simple thing about, hey, yeah, a test costs in between this, you can go to the store, get a test kit, here's what you have to do and stuff. For those who want to do it, many people won't even engage in it. They sort of feel like, well, I ain't had no problem so far that they know of, But
Jim, I think that
all good.
But Jim, I think, and I'm coming in on the tail end, and Ms. Jackie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the point. If I know Jackie the way that I do, that's the point she was trying to make. In truth, I'm just going to be honest. I can't make you do nothing. That's the God's honest truth. I can't make you, but I can make me. So for me, I want to know.
Yeah,
So-
but you come in, but what was raised by Latasha is about what do the people get beyond information is a real key point for this community because they constantly getting information. It's just that they're looking for where's the real tangible help. And if it's not dollars and no equipment, is again more information. They got all the information and no avenue for how to get to something that can help them
That's
put
why-
it in play.
But that's why, if you can, for those who want to come to this community meeting that Ms. Jackie and I are talking about, that's why it's important that we have it. Again, that date is on this Friday from 6 to 8. And Ms. Jackie said pointedly right. I said 8:30 because you know how sometimes meeting go. People, they get so excited about what they've learned and resources and all of those other things. And sometimes people may be eating snacks and refreshments and all those other things. So I just use the 8:30 as a outside.
I don't
run.
think there's wrong with time. I would even though you didn't, I would urge the councilwoman to be there for that. And if not, to have someone from their office. I just think it's important for people in the community to say, oh, we got those who have the ability to bring some juice working together.
And more than likely, from my conversations with Councilwoman Everhart, she will be there.
All right, salute
to her and her office. The other things we're showing you also how to soil sample. Then the other thing is, as we mentioned earlier, that we have people who can also give you those other things. And that's as of now. This work is not done. We still have more work to do. As she said, there will be more meetings to further the point that you're making, and sister, that you've made. This is not a one-stop shop. This has been a lot of work in progress, and it will continue. As she said, we got over 9 plots of land, and there's a lot of plants no longer on the east side in working business. But this will be one of our first starts together, and we're doing as best as we can as entities. And so we're asking the community to bear with us. Say even when it comes to soil sampling, there are many things that are out of our control in those moments. I may say you may get it back within 2 days. It may take 4 weeks or 4 months. So there are a lot of things that we deal with to bring these things to a reality. But even that said, again, going back to what I started with, I can't make you soil sample. If Ms. James gives me the kit and it sits on my freezer, whose fault is that? It's not hers. It's my fault. I have to take some initiative somewhere, somehow. I have to get off my good intentions. I have to make effort. Oftentimes in issues such as this, we find ourselves wanting somebody else to do it. We do that. And so instead of that, with all of the ideas and suggestions that we've all proposed here, let's all do those things that we proposed. Let's all work to the common goal or the common good.
Not to interrupt, we do have one more caller.
Yes, sir.
Caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Yes, this is Dr. Doyle again.
Yeah.
I just want to say this. I'm not able to attend a lot of meetings because of my health problems now, but I can help you. This is how I can help you. I write for the Criterion newspaper. If you would send me to my attention the meetings that you're going to be, but I need a 2-week notice.
Okay.
Let me know when you're gonna have a meeting. A lot of people read my column.
Mhm.
I do
So
too.
just send me some information and I will announce it in my newspaper column. That's how I can help you.
Yeah, I
Okay,
appreciate
thank you.
that.
Thank you.
Listening to Dr. Eva Doyle.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
Sister Doyle,
Yes, sir.
do you run into Brother Frank Mayweather at all?
Oh, I talk to him
All the time.
When you run into Brother Frank, can you tell him to call Brother Greg? Because I've been trying to get in contact with him too, as well.
Okay. Well, what's your phone number?
Ooh, don't do that on
I
the
can't do that on the air.
Yeah, I'll
You know
hook
what?
up. I'll hook up.
I'll tell you what. You can contact me through my website. Just go to evamdoyle.com.
Okay, thanks, Miss Eva.
Yeah, and I will get the message to him.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that this project that we're talking about today is a collaboration between OpenBuffalo, Citizen Science, and GBUG. GBUG stands for Greater Buffalo Urban Growers. So there's quite a few urban growers that are really
Mhm.
concerned about this issue. And
Yeah.
obviously they grow plants
Mhm.
in an urban area in Buffalo.
Mhm.
So
And this is one of the reasons why I stress this political angle is because a large part of the support needed is going to have to be coming out of some part of the government. And the community, the folks need to make its first level of governance aware of what the desires of the community is and get them on their side and then press it on up to our state representative
right.
because it takes time. That's what lobbying and stuff is about.
Yes, sir.
And and we know, look, we want to have a progressive, to me, political representatives are those who really move on live issues, not those who go digging up something that is basically go around in a circle or that don't really need to do no work on.
Yes, sir.
So I'm encouraging those who are newly in office, and I'm encouraging the old ones in office to catch up with the beat, because we can do better, and it shouldn't be having to beg political representation to do something. That's what we elect them for. So that's why I put keeping eyes on the political piece. And they got to talk about it. They got to be able to come back and talk about what they done and have evidence. I mean, we're in a moment, not only is it show and tell, but not even when they want something done, they got to have the down payment because they haven't done. Anyway, let me shut up. I don't get y'all in trouble.
You fine.
I mean,
what we also are doing as a collective. My organizations, Miss Jackie, Joe Cruz. We've also are in talk with Senator Tim Kennedy's office. Since that site is his district, so we've also working in that, trying to get meetings to talk about why the issue is important and why these things are being done that Miss Jackie, Joe Kurtz, and myself and the community are doing. So just to that point, yet again, by the time Friday comes, or even today, we're doing as much as we can, knowing that there's more work to be done.
Yeah, I'm just agitating for you. Look, a lot of people, a lot of other important issues are trying to get hold to those characters. Those electeds, and they were trying to get hold to them. And look, politicals are well known for ducking and dodging and hemming and hawing, and they know that. But people we elect need to be able to stand strongly in the face of anything. If something is not true, they need to be able to deal with it and push it back. If something is right, they shouldn't be hiding it. And it's something about being right. I know that they're not speaking up on issues. What's the clarity on where? Here you got a representative who's just been elected to a congressional seat. Got to get prepared for that. How much are they doing right now dealing with the state level stuff, and who are you going to talk to? Do you talk to them still, or do you talk to April Baston? Who do you talk to? They both got the same thoughts about what need to be done? No. So I'm like, you're in this dead air. I'm shutting up. We at the end of time, y'all. And you see, I'm telling you, hey, look, thank y'all for being here. We're still on the live. We're still live on
Oh, we're done. We're off the air.
we
So
off the air.
you got a couple minutes seconds.
We
last
do?
couple seconds, I just would
Go
recommend,
ahead.
just reiterate again, time and date for the event, where they want to be at, just as we close out for the viewers listening.
Thank you, sir. Again, that date is this Friday. That's the 17th, right, Ms. James?
Mhm.
The 17th.
Friday at the 17th.
Okay, at the Delavan Grider Center from 6 to 8. Thanks to Ms. Jackie's correction. You know, hopefully those who want to come can come. You're going to learn many things, and I believe truly that if you come, you're going to be glad you did.
And sample some soil by those houses in that district by the expressway.
Yeah.
I mean that seriously though. Thank y'all. This is great. Jackie, you know you gotta come back again.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.